Afternoon, goeiemiddag allemaal. Ek sien ons is online. Welkom in 2025. Welcome to the new year. I don't know if it's still legal to say welcome in 2025 when it's February, but we're glad to have you guys with us today. We had quite a high level of registration, so people might still be joining, and some people just want to get the catch up. So if you are viewing this later on YouTube or in the recording, yeah, thanks for joining us as well. We have our first Tech Talk, FinTalk series of Center for Technology and Center for Finance and Risk talks today. And we're happy to start the year with Standard Bank, one of our key members in the Center for Finance and Risk Management. So thank you for joining us. On stage with me or around the table with me is Johan. He is the head of the education sector leader in Standard Bank, head of, don't even know exactly what the title is. Let me just say head education sector, business and commercial banking. So that's a heavy title. Johan, dankie dat jy saam met ons kuier vandag. We'll be doing most of the talk in English. But if you want to send us a question through in the chat, whatever you prefer, if we can help you, we'll do that. My name is Riaan van der Bergh. Those of you who don't know me, thank you for joining us. I'm one of the deputy CEOs at FEDSAS, and I head up the Center for Finance and Risk Management, as well as the Center for Technology. And the discussion today is around the Center for Finance and Risk Management. And we always say that, if money makes the world go round, then school fees make the school bell sound. Cash is king. Abba saying money, 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 and everyone knows that cash flow and resources and money make a big difference in the delivery of quality education at school. So we're happy to be talking center focus as well as specific solutions from Standard Bank, which might surprise a lot of us if we see what they have beyond banking. Our topic today was not just banking services, but beyond banking. Maybe just a little refresher on why do we have the Center for Finance and Risk Management is we wanted to put specific focus on financial issues in a school. If you have enough money, then maybe this webinar is not for you. But I have yet to meet a school and visit a school where they say, we don't know what to do with our cash. We've got so much. Can we just, donate it somewhere and get rid of it? Not going to happen. So we want to put specific focus on the importance of sustainable schools. And in saying that, we need to have specialized knowledge. So that's the second cornerstone of the centers, is that of specialized knowledge. All of us are economically active, but not all of us are financial gurus. And we need to look at finances from a specific angle to get the maximum out of that. And then we look at solutions. Ons kyk na spesifieke fokus, spesialistkundigheid en spesifieke oplossings. So focus, knowledge, and solutions to add value to our schools and make this problem less of a problem. So that's the centers. And I don't have a presentation on that. I hope you get that. And remember that so that we can sit around the table. We're in a meeting platform today. We're not in a webinar. So everyone can welcome to open your screens if you want to, and participate in the chat. We'll have some time for questions, but please interrupt us if there's a critical questions. Raise your hand, open your mic, open your screen, and let's be part of a discussion around a table. Maybe as an intro, Johan, I just wanted to quickly reflect on how the year started in the FEDSAS circles. And I think the first week of the year was more media coverage of education in the wake of Bella and all the changes in legislation that we've seen in a long time. The year started with a particular focus on school fees and school fee increases higher than inflation or faster than inflation. Along with that, so the media covered a lot of that, school fee increases beyond 6.8% to 15% in some cases. Along with that, bad debts and exemption applications. So there's a specific focus on, oh my goodness, school income might be less. The second one was that a week later of the matric results. And so the education sector was in the news and the media again with the matric results, which was a record best performance ever from the class of 2024. But interestingly, hidden in all the detail and the celebrations was the fact that maths and the core subjects are reducing in numbers. So we've got less students taking maths, less students even taking maths literature. So there's a focus differentiation on not doing maths. And I'm saying that specifically because we want to talk about some solutions and offers that you might have. The Schools Act changed just before Christmas. We got a new Schools Act. The Bella Act was signed, but doesn't mean it's a new act. It's just changes to the Schools Act. And a lot of changes happened in various sections of the Schools Act, specifically around finance, financial management, quorum at annual general meetings, and changes to budget, more disclosure, more transparency. But something that did not change was the fact that the Schools Act still requires one operational account and approval from the Department of Education for an investment account. So that was a change that didn't keep up with the changing world we're living in.
Yeah.
At least they're not mentioning check account because no one has checks anymore. But transmission account, operational account, but some issues around the cashless environment that we want to do about. So yeah, that's the intro to the talk. That's where the Center of Finance has been, I would say, inundated with media inquiries. Luckily, FEDSAS is well positioned to give that. We've got data on schools. But to lead in the discussion today with what Standard Bank can give us and hopefully add value to our members. And Johan, maybe as an opening question, the importance of money and resources in a business or in a school. Last year, our mantra for the Center for Finance and Risk Management was every cent counts. As a banker and as a businessman, probably someone with an economic background, maybe just give us your opinion on the importance of managing with the ingesteldheid, the focus that every cent counts. Welcome on stage.
Thanks, Riaan, and thanks also to the audience for the opportunity to chat to you today. So, normally when we as bankers, join forums, then 90% of the people switch off their cameras because, it's going to be that boring bank stuff and we're going to try to sell you products and solutions. And luckily, that's not the objective of today. What we try from a Standard Bank perspective is to move away from the traditional banking solutions, because any bank can give you a transactional account. Any bank can give you an investment account. Any bank can give you a loan facility to do infrastructure development at the school. So what we try to do is really to move away and understand what is the burning issues that sits in the school environment. And you're 100% right. If it comes to the nitty-gritties, if you look at the management at school level, they make R1 look like 1,000 rand. And if it's in the corporate world, we spend 1,000 rand, just flicking our eyes. So I think the focus is on how can we assist to bring additional revenues into school? How can we assist to reduce certain of the fee structures that sit in the school environment? And I think one of the questions that came to mind was around the merchant. So everybody's going towards, can I pay with my card? Can I pay with a credit card? And the first thing that sticks in the school's mind is there's that fee, that little thing called the fee that I get charged when the parent swipes the card. So it's that ease of doing business, but at the back of your head is if they swipe, there's 2.3% that's gone off that number. So what we're trying to do from a bank perspective is the schools is not where we are intent to get rich from. So we have made a decision, in our department is to say how can we add value? Because if we add value or save the school funding, that directly goes back into the student, because the student is ultimately the beneficiary of that. And what we try to do through the solutions that we offer is, how do we assist the school to make their product? And look, there's a lot of principals and school managers on the line that will say, we're not selling a product. But effectively, that's what you're doing. Why do we, invest in infrastructure? Why do we get the best teachers? It's because we're taking a solution into the communities that we serve. And from our side is, how do we help doing that? So today is not about the boring bank stuff. We're not going to share with you, the fancy things of how to get a loan and how to get an overdraft and what is, transactional. What we're trying to do is really to see what is that value adds. How can we bring value and solve for things that not necessarily a bank would solve for? And you alluded to the matric results and mathematics. We've got a solution that talks about that, but everybody would think that maths would be a key focus in the bank, but that's not what we do. We do transactional and lending and those type of things, but we don't build value add solutions. And where do we get this information? Is from, organizations like yourself. We have many a time, came to you and say, how do we test this? How do we test the viability of this solution? And it goes around priorities. So it's not the bank's priorities. It's not what's important for me. It's what's important for the school, because you are our customers and we need to solve for that. So how do we engage with you? How do we understand your world? And it's through these type of interactions. I've done, in my 3 years in the sector, I've done over 600 school visits, just understanding the world, because the principals and the teachers understand it 500 times better than what we do, because we're just a bank. So engaging with organizations like yourself, we had many a discussion. The feedback that you have given and the environment has given us, we've amended our credit policies, we've amended our lending capabilities, and we've seen the benefits through that. So what we're trying to do is sit, listen. We don't know everything. We don't stand on a pedestal and say that we know everything. We don't. And we, love engaging with audiences like yourself and the people online just to understand that well. But today is around, what can we do to solve that critical thing? Is, how do I save money? And there's a number of things. So two things that comes to mind is merchant. Merchant has always been a bugbear. And I think one of the questions that came to the fore was, how can we solve? Is this the merchant rate that was shared? Is that? And everything is negotiable. Schools does not always go out on banking tenders. They don't test the market. And I always say, and I include Standard Bank customers as well. You've been banking with a bank for 10, 20, 30, 50, 60 years. In 60 years, you've never tested the market. And for 60 years, every year there's an inflationary increase. So, and it's sometimes it's good. It's good to go test. You won't always find that what you've tested comes back great, but you might test, and there might be other opportunities and capabilities to reduce those fees. And we've seen some significant drops. We've seen, a 2,000, 3,000 monthly fee when you start just tweaking one or two things, and that can be substantial, over a year period. So it's just testing it. It's just allowing you to go test and understand what is available in the market. And look, the Standard Bank customers, the senior executives won't be happy if I say Standard Bank customers go test, but that's, you must do it. We must go test the environment to get the best prices available. So I hope that's, it's a long-winded answer for a short question.
No, I think what I like about that is vulnerability and honesty, but to be intentional. I'm sitting with my FEDSAS governing body association hat on. I'm also on the governing body of a school, and as the client, as the customer, we've got to be intentional to ensure, are we getting what we pay for, but not just in cost, but in value for money. And I think that's where the every cent counts comes in for me, because I can pay a cheaper fee for something that is completely useless, and it looks like it's cheap, but it's actually very expensive because I'm getting nothing for that. Johan, we alluded to a few things, and maybe if you can slightly, let's focus on a few specific items. I know you have some slides and you have a little preparation, but I'd like to have an organic chat with you. And if we want to show something, but I spoke about the matric results, which was in the news. you guys do work in the math world with Matific. I think it's an
Yeah,
international program. There's a math Olympiad. There's some prizes to be gained, but the biggest prize is the fact that mathematics is an important flow through core subject that opens up opportunities for learners. What does Matific do, and how come Standard Bank is involved in something called Matific?
yeah. So Riaan, what we did, and Matific was probably one of, not probably, was one of the first value add solutions that we developed. When I talk about value add solutions, it's normally a product and solutions that's not built inside a bank. So it is something that the market said to us, this is important, and can you find a solution for that? So what we're trying to do is not do it ourselves, because the wheels turn slow in corporate, and if it's not a core function in a bank, then you just get pushed down the priority list. So what we normally do is we engage with external experts and partners that provide a solution or provide a capability that solves for something at schools, and we partner with them, and we then take that offer into market. So Matific was one of it, and it's effectively the gamification of math. So children, so all the curriculum, so it's the entire curriculum, all the various curriculums in South Africa, and as the expert, how many there are. So it's all the curriculums, maths curriculums, and it's from grade R to grade 9. And it's just a gamification. So, teachers can use it. They, can, provide, maths problems to learners on a laptop or a tablet or a cell phone, and they learn through playing a game. And it's a virtual world that the children play in, and it works on the same basis. That the more advanced the learner becomes, the more difficult the question. And it's a game. So your children play a game, and that's how they learn. So through the Matific partnership, and when I spoke to Natalia this morning, and I said to her, I'm part of the forum. She said, please tell the FEDSAS members that if they want to test it, they can have it for 3 months for free just to go test it. So that's hot off the press.
That's
And if there's
amazing.
anybody that is interested, please, share your details, and we'll get Natalia to come and sit and open that capability for you. But just to give you a sense, so what we do is we will sit with the entity and say, you're a normal customer would pay 100 Rand, because it's a Standard Bank customer, can we get a reduced price? So we negotiate on behalf of the customer. So just to give you a sense, a license fee of Matific is 180 Rand per member. And because, if you're a Standard Bank customer or you get introduced through Standard Bank, you get it at 135 Rand. So just that relationship already, there is a saving. And once again, coming back to the earlier point, is continue just how do we add value? How do we bring solutions? But how do we make it also cost effective for the school to engage with an organization like Matific?
Yeah, I like that. Number one, value to schools, but number two, value specific for FEDSAS members. So I want to open up that invitation, and I know not everyone that registered is on the call today, but if you're keen, I think Johan's details was just shared in the chat, so copy and paste that. And then Standard Bank and Matific will try and verify by means of contacting us to say, is this a FEDSAS member? Because we exclusively doing this, and I think it's a great trial for schools to see. Johan, thanks for that. Tell Natalia it's a good offer, and it could be worth quite a bit, especially where math might be a problem. And it's grade 9 and using technology. So it's the new world that we're living in, and we should embrace that. Johan, I want to quickly jump to something, and I know you've got a long list there.
Yeah.
Schools revenue, increasing revenue, decreasing costs, and reducing losses. What we're seeing over the past 2 years is a definite spike in collections of school fees, so bad debts increasing. We're seeing a spike in exemption applications, and we're in the process of talking to the department at the highest level in a review of the exemption process, because there's a portion of unfairness in it that as the numbers grew over the past 15 years, richer people are getting exemption at expensive schools. but how do we increase revenue? How do we collect easier? What do we do with revenue streams? Fundraising. FEDSAS is in the process of telling schools, let's do fundraising. Section 36 of the Schools Act says the SGB must do everything reasonable. Everything. It sounds like we should be farming on the schoolyard or something, but everything reasonable. To supplement the school fees, or supplement the funds by the Department of Education. So yeah, maybe tell us about what you have for schools that want to do an initiative. How can they make money?
Yeah, so Riaan, once again, is that critical thing. How do we reduce cost? Is a key thing, and how do we increase revenue that comes into the school? One of the key things that we've identified, and I think you were part of that discussion when we did it about 2 years ago, is how do we negotiate? How do we get a company that can collect on behalf of schools? Because we all know that in some schools it's the admin office that is doing that. In some entities they would give it to an attorney that's in town and they will hand it over. But those costs to do this is exorbitant. So you can get anything charged from 15% to 30% based on what that negotiation with that attorney firm is. So what we did is, as Standard Bank, we went out on tender. So and a lot of people say, but you're a bank. Why you can collect, why are you going out into market? I don't think you want a Standard Bank, call center agent that is trying to recover debt to speak to one of your parents, because the parent might never want to come back to the school again. So what we did is we went externally and we went out on tender and say, we are looking for a debt collection capability for schools. And the first priority is please drop your prices. So we can open yourself to a network, but it must be cost effective to the school. So we've partnered with a company called CSS Debt Collections, and they're doing a lot of debt collection on behalf of Standard Bank as well. So we partnered with them once again, bespoke pricing that we've negotiated for our customers. And and the only thing is, send us a mail, we will connect you with them, and the team will go out and explain their offering to you. So that is the one capability. Then school days. A lot of members might have heard about school days. But school days is the my school card of Woolies. It's the same capability, but it's that additional revenue. So we always go to the parents and say, please donate here, donate there. But a lot of our parents has got a bank card, and they go to Dis-Chem and they swipe, and they do purchases at Dis-Chem and at retail stores. So what school days is doing is they come to the school, they register school on school days, and then they provide marketing collateral that is then sent to the parents. And it's an online app. It's an online app where you register, where the parent registers, then, they then register their card. And each time when they swipe that card at Dis-Chem is the main contributor to school days. And there's 11 other retail stores. Each time the customer goes and swipes his card, or the parent swipes his card, the school gets a benefit. So they call it time management points. So the school gets a benefit. And the funds is then paid to the school. The other benefit is U-counts. There's a lot of customers or Standard Bank customers that is on the platform in their personal capacity, and you get U-counts. So a parent can donate his U-counts to pay his school fees. So he can take his U-count points and through school days pay his school fees. And the nice thing is, it's not only the parent. So the parent can phone his brother and say, brother in Cape Town, please can you register for my school? So you can activate a massive, large community, and at the end of the day, so as they shop and spend, the school gets the benefit of that capability. So a revenue stream, you're not going to make millions, but 1,000, 2,000 rand on a monthly basis eventually stops a hole somewhere in the school. And the benefit of this is you register once. I remember my daughter was in grade 1 and the school came to us and said, please register on my Woolies school card. I still think I'm still on Woolies, my school card in the primary school. So you forget about it and parents goes on. So I think those two capabilities is definitely something that will add value. And then one other thing is, as a school, as you mentioned earlier, on your transactional account, you can't earn interest because you can only have one transactional account, and the school must get MEC approval if they want to open an investment account.
Yeah.
So through a capability that we have created called Cashman, we can now take your transactional account, load a status on top of that, and then you can earn interest on your current account. So the money is lying in your current account, and if you don't have an investment account, the school can earn interest now. So the interest starts at about 300,000 on an average balance, and it goes up to R1 million. And I think the last rate that I saw at the top, so if you've got R1 million, and I think there is schools that has got that in their transactional account, you can earn up to 5.75% interest on it. And that's just by doing normal bank stuff. So hopefully that will give you a sense of that critical thing is how do we add value to increase revenue and through the debt collection, schools days, and then the Cashman solution.
So I just want to quickly talk at the school days solution. It's very difficult for a school to change banks. We know that. So that's a deeper discussion. But schools are used to, my school, we're pushing some for schools, changing the behavior around the school and benefiting from parents. I don't know what the answer is here, but is revenue solutions school days, number C on your agenda, is that open to non-standard bank clients? It's just part of the services. Okay, so they can participate in that without first having to change everything, which might be, well, that's, I mean, improved debt collection and improved revenue, and schools are used to doing that. We just need to get some drive in that, and if it's easy, why not have that? So thanks for that answer.
Riaan, just to add on top of that, sorry, all these solutions is bank agnostic. We'd love, I won't earn my salary if I don't say it would be great to bank, the entities that don't bank with us, but there must be value. There must be value for them to do that changes, to go through that pain. But sometimes it's a good pain, because sometimes you don't like your wife and you want to return her to the pool, and somebody husbands as well. So sometimes those things are necessary, but the solutions that we have here is bank agnostic. So anybody can take benefit of that.
No, that's brilliant. So it's something that we're doing already. It's additional income stream. It's just go and register. And I think if I know how much my own family spends at this game, if that's the main one, that's day-to-day stuff. You're not shopping at a different retailer. It's already the one that you're going to around the corner. That's definitely something to look at. And wonder why. I want to say it's brain dead to not do that, but that would sound very bad. So I didn't say that. I didn't think that, but it's just a question of let's just do it. Make it as easy as possible to chip into the school fund as far as that goes. Johan, the interest you mentioned, and I alluded to that earlier in my opening comments. MEC approval for investment account, making it easier. That then obviously means changing of bank and having a standard bank account. But then that means that every rand in the school's bank account or bank accounts are productive as far as earning interest. What is the interest loss if a school has operational cash? And I'm not saying the numbers, but just hypothetically, if a school has 100,000 or 300,000 rand in the bank at all times, because you don't know what you're going to be spending tomorrow and during salary time and month end, and people pay for the first 5-7 days of the month, they start paying school fees, so that balance just shoots up, and then you start using it. Cash management is critical, and we don't know what we lose because it's not an expense on our banking charges, but average 5.5% on R1 million balance for a year is 55,000 rand. Is that right?
No, so Riaan, we did a scenario test when we developed the product. At 300,000 rand, if your average balance is 300,000 rand, interest in a year. So if you keep your balance average it's 12,000 rand a year extra on income on 300,000. So you can imagine if you do it at R1 million. And I've seen some schools that keeps 8 million rand in their transactional account, because they are waiting 9, 10, 11 months, 3 years for MEC approval for them to open an investment account. So and the benefit here is you can, when you eventually get approval from the MEC, you can continue with the cashman. Then you can open the investment account and leave the cashman capabilities. You get the benefit of both then. Because we know that the school keeps an amount in their transactional account for unforeseen circumstances, and the rest they leave in the investment account. So over a period of time, if you work on 300,000 at 11 to 12,000 rand a month or a year, imagine what it is at R1 million.
Yeah, so it's 30, 40,000. No, I mean that makes so much sense. So the math, and yes, I want to put on my Center for Finance hat again and say every cent counts. Everything is proportional. So some people must say, for 12,000 Rand, we're not moving. But we know that we've got schools that, their FEDSAS membership fee is just slightly more than that a year, or maybe double that a year. So proportionally, it doesn't look much against bank fees or interest. But compared to other fees, the relative nature of it compared to something that is valuable and that we're paying for, I think might make sense. So that account, go for it.
Sorry. If I always think, look at the global impact. So let's just have a look at the things on the screen. So if you move your banking, definitely. So when we look at a customer, we do bespoke pricing. So we don't come to you and say, because you're a school, this is the pricing you get. So we sit with you and say, what is the 3 or 4 key line items that is bugging you? And a lot of that is cash deposit fees. So cash deposits, parents pay massive fees. To bring cash into a bank is massive. So we start looking at those things. So there is a rebate capability where you take the cash payment out of it. So if you do that, if you do the investment, if you look at your merchant and you start reducing that, if you add the school days capability on, the aggregate of those 3 or 4 things might not sound like much, but 15,000 Rand on a year or 20,000 in a year can be a massive difference for school. And it might not be, and the bigger, the more volume, the more value in a school, the bigger the savings. So we must always think about the big things. So, if we focus on the small thing, I'm not going to change my banking for 12,000 Rand, but if you bring the aggregates on top of it, it can be significant. Just a comment.
Yeah, so there's an ecosystem of stuff that works together. Johan, I want to throw it open to the audience. I think we can maybe hit 1 or 2 other questions, but I'd rather have time with the audience. I don't see any questions in the chat box, but I see we've got quite a few familiar faces around. And I've seen baie van ons is Afrikaans, so you're welcome to throw out a question in Afrikaans. My language capabilities end with Afrikaans and English, unfortunately, and a little bit of Spanish. So can't help you in that. Is there a question from the audience? I want to open it up. Open your microphone, open your camera, and let's see what maybe a question from your side or a question from my side to the audience is there anyone that want to comment? Come on. What are you hearing about the additional products that you didn't know of? Did you know there's Matific? Did you know that there's interest on a transaction account? And would that be interesting? Maybe just expand on the market research here. I'm hoping that someone has the guts to open their camera and raise their hand and get the discussion going with us. I'm not scared of silence. So is there anyone with a question based on what Johan said? No hand. No. Ja, is Matific available in Afrikaans? Is die Matific beskikbaar in Afrikaans?
100%.
Help ons daar. Hoe lyk hy?
Riaan, hy is beskikbaar in Afrikaans. So die volledige platform is beskikbaar in Afrikaans. So definitief. So as daar 'n skool is wat dit wil doen, moet hulle net in kontak met ons kom.
Graad R tot graad 9, I'll add to that. What is the hardware and connectivity requirements for Matific, or not sure? Maybe we should just speak Natalia.
Yeah, kyk, Riaan, if I must quote on what is the bandwidth and those type of things, I might destroy Italia's product. But we can connect. If the individual wants to connect with me with the information, I can gladly connect them with Vital, and I can get all that information to them.
So it's either an online platform, to answer my own question, or a local server-based platform in the lab.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
All right. No other questions. No. I see there's some more chat. Okay, that was the last one there. Johan, maybe from my side, and please, members of the audience, you're welcome to chat with us. Maybe from my side, something that's important is, and I see you've got it on your list there, infrastructure development and enhancement. From an SGB point of view, maintenance is turning into one of the big tickets. Yeah. But over the past few years, funding of enhancements, like I see Turf Tech and Trompie Sport, that is additions like sports fields and Astros and so. But funding for, and I know we haven't had load shedding for 300 odd days until about a week ago, but the cost implications of solar, that's been a big issue, not just load shedding proof, but cost saving proofing. You're open to lending to a school without possibly changing their banking. It's not ideal for you, I guess, but you just appreciate the opportunity to quote on the solar solution or whatever maintenance or building solutions there, and vehicle financing, and something we've spoken about, and you can maybe just allude to that. Commercial loans are at 10 years, but you've given something to schools, and I know that it's happening in some provinces, that the school is buying a house for either rental purposes for staff or something like that. You've made some changes in that case. So just pass on infrastructure and lending.
Yeah. So thanks, Riaan. Definitely. And it's also kudos to you and the team. When we amended our lending criteria and what we can offer to schools, your insights definitely help. So just key some of the big requirements, definitely. So the benefit we have is we've got a dedicated specialist in our credit team, and he reviews all public schools' credit applications. So Eric Mathieson understands the world, he understands the legislation, he understands what to look for. So it's not this up and down capability. And we did an analysis. So we must also check, because when you're in the front line and you talk about credit and people, credit managers approving, there's always that internal fight if you talk to any banker. So the frontline team don't like the credit guys, because there's a lot of questions, and please let us just get the deal done. Eric is not like that, and we validated Eric's turnaround times. On average, 2 hours for a deal to be approved. When the transaction is in front of him, 2 hours, deal approved. He goes back to the relationship team. He understands schools, because that's all he does. He focuses on school applications. He was part of the development of the credit risk appetite for schools. So one of the key things, the trust that is associated with schools, where the school is the beneficiary, we can lend to them. In the past, we didn't, but now we can. So we look at the feasibility of the trust. If they buy assets, they would go out and do solar in the trust, or they buy buses in the trust, we can lend to them. So that was one of the policies that we opened. The second thing is schools buy houses for teachers to stay. And we've seen this happening in the Western Cape, where they want the Gauteng headmasters or the Gauteng individuals to move down to Cape Town. It's expensive. So how do you attract them? Because you can't, accommodation and housing is expensive. So if you keep it a house, we can finance it over a 20-year period for you. So that capability has been opened. And then also vehicle and asset finance. So in the past, we only did vehicles, but now we can do electronic boards, we can do refrigerators, we can do electronic equipment, we can do laptops. Anything that has got a serial number on, we can finance. So quintal 4, 5, we can finance anything. In our quintal 1, 2s, and 3s, which we didn't do in the past, we can finance vehicles. So that is another capability that we have opened in the school environment. So if the school gets the MEC approval, and that we can do it. And then, Riaan, schools don't always think about this, but fleet. School might say, but I've got one bus, I've got one quantum, I've got two vehicles, but you can have a fleet with one. And in our fleet offering, and the price of petrol. So in our fleet offering, if you fill up with at certain BPs, Caltex is something extra now, and there's another one, the Shell, you can save up to 10% on your fuel bill. Now, suddenly, if over a year period, up to 10%. So it's at selective full stations. And if you fill up, you get that saving, even if you've got one vehicle. So once again, is from a lending perspective, all these capabilities are there and are open to our schools to use to lend and put that infrastructure in place. Because the normal tendency is let's fundraise for the Astro hockey field. And the time we get to the funding, it's 3 years down the line, and the cost has increased by 20%. Where you can do it now, and it's flexible. If you can repay it over a 10-year period, but if you want to repay it in 2 years, you repay it in 2 years. There's no penalty fees. And we're just trying to assist the schools and getting those things that they need into the environment as quick as possible.
Excellent. Johan, I've just looking at the time, and I think I've exhausted just about my questions. If there's nothing else from the audience. I just wanted to say thank you. I think you've really put together a well thought out solution suite for schools outside of your client base, but just affecting the sector. So kudos to Standard Bank for innovation, and we're proud to associate with you as the center of finance and risk management. And thank you for listening to the sector and changing policy where it was needed to actually bring a solution. So from my side, thank you for that. I hope we have some good sessions coming up in future. We'll be distributing this along with Johan's slide deck, which probably has 20 or 30 slides, and it gives more information on this. So if you're watching this, everyone that registered will get an info pack so that you can share it. And I think open the discussion at your school. Go look at some of the brain dead issues, which I say, just make a plan and register for school days. Make a plan and see where we can increase revenue and where we can cut costs. Think about the fleet side of things. There's always questions about, is it credit and is it a bank account? But speak to FEDSAS, speak to Standard Bank on that. So from my side, maybe a last word from Johan, and then we'll close the session. Johan, last 30 seconds.
Thanks, Riaan. Once again, thanks for the opportunity. And once again, if any of the audience members are interested in anything, just give us a shout. Like yourself said, there's a lot of information behind this. But connect with us. Send us a mail and say, I'm interested in X. Please have a look at the all access capability. It's a cashless campus solution that we've now partnered with a company. And once again, it's to decash the school. So once again, decash, more revenue, quicker money into the bank. But once again, the detail is there. Once again, Riaan, thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for your audience. We really appreciate it. And all the best for the year. I know it's going to be a tough year. I can see the kids are running already like headless chickens. Is good. It keeps it out of our hairs. But also thank you for you and your team for the support in what we do.
Okay, brilliant. Guys, I think Johan's details this in the chat box. So if you want any wil kry, if you want to contact him, email address, cell phone number is there. There were some questions earlier on. I think we've touched most of them. Thank you for your time. In a week or two, we'll have another FinTalk Tech Talk session. The year started very interestingly with AI, with school fees, with exemptions, with cell phone policies. So there's a lot going on around the discussion. But as Johan said, kop off and push through. It's busy time. We're hoping for really a more stable year and a positive year in a sense of there's no election coming up. There's no SGB election coming up. The law is now signed into, well, the act. The Bella bill is now signed into law. We know where we stand now and we can go forward and let's go build schools. Let's make sure that our schools are sustainable. And if we manage with every cent counting, I think we will be okay as far as that goes. Johan, thank you for joining us. To the audience, thank you for joining us. We'll share this and have a good one. Take care. Cheers, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.